Hello and welcome to another episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast, episode 111. My name is Ethan Shalloway, and I'm joined by Chris Salona. We are recording on a Friday night again, Chris. We've been rolling in the Friday recordings recently. I don't know if that makes us lazy, procrastinating, but this is May 8th that it's coming out on. And Chris, how are you well, it's Friday, but how are you doing today?
Well, I think the
week is done.
The week is done. The day's done, and we're trying to have some fun. And I think that the Friday night recording, it can definitely be a double-edged sword of sorts. On one hand, you have the fact that the week is done, and it's like you've got nothing but time on a Friday night. You have some fun, talk about some music. And then on the other hand, when you go through a completely and utterly debilitating week in terms of workload, work, training, life, etc., recording podcasts on a Friday night is not all sunshine and rainbows, but depending on how you feel, you just got to roll with the punches. And I'm excited to be here tonight for the 111th episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast. I'm doing a lot better now that we've started recording, and now that we're getting into this episode a little bit than I was mere moments ago before we started. So that's the thing about the Grunge Bible Podcast. It can buoy spirits, no matter what's got you down. Just let us talk for a little bit, and we'll get you feeling all right. How are you tonight, Ethan?
I'm doing well. Similarly, it's like the build up to the episode can add some anxiety in your life, but then once we are recording, I feel at ease and I feel excited to get to knock one out, and that's why we end up going a lot longer than we usually say we're gonna do. So I think that is a telltale sign that we do enjoy doing this. So I'm doing great, man. It was a good week. It was a tiring week, but you got to have them, so when you have those easy weeks, they make them all the much better.
Exactly. And it's good when you can sit here at the end of a week and you're tired for all the right reasons to use the parlance of our time in the words of Chad Kroeger, all the right reasons. I feel very similarly right now, and it's a job well done, and there's no better bow to put on the week than a recording sesh for the Grunge Bible Podcast. So we're really excited to be here with you all once again. We're going to be talking about some different topics that are kind of current events for grunge. We don't get too many of those.
Yeah, it's like our first current events episode.
It's our first in a long, maybe since last year when there was more tour news to talk about and more current events going on. So we've got some news on some of the bigger bands of the era, some different fronts, the Pearl Jam front, the Soundgarden front, that we're going to be able to get into and discuss a little bit today on this episode. But, before we do that, we do need to discuss some of the elements that exist that make this show possible. And leading the way as normal, we have our top level supporters over on Patreon. And if you've been with us for any amount of time, you do know by now that supporting us on Patreon and becoming a patron is the most direct way to support the show. We have 3 tiers at which you can make a monthly contribution to the show: $2, $5, or $10 a month. All of that goes to making this show possible, with equipment, with subscription fees that are involved, with paying our producer Drew, who did a fantastic job last week hosting the Grunge Bible Podcast. It was nice to be a guest for once. Like, it was kind of cool. Like, we're always in the business of trying to schedule guests and trying to work everything out, and it's great you just hop in, and Drew just took the reins. So he did a great job. So I think
check that episode out for sure.
Yeah, episode 110 was a special one. And Ethan, I gotta tell you, I think with that performance, he's getting closer and closer to getting his raise finally. So you can make that happen by becoming a patron. And at this time, I would like to thank the people that make the highest commitment possible on Patreon. The individuals who are at our top tier, who give us $10 per month to support this podcast. So at this time, I would like to thank Fuck Soup, Fresh Tendonitis, Faith Bittner, Granny Grunge, Jade Mercado, Jamie Lynn, Carlene Salona, Chris LSMS, Doug Endy, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, Kara K, Captain Hightop, Brother Nature, Rachel Corning, Nikki Six, Millie, Alex Long, Black Hole Sean, Alexa Shannon, Blue Owl, Laura and Irene, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Marianne, Shoe the Shoeless, Corden Stewart, What the Fuck's Up Denny's, and Christine Shepard. So thank you to all of you out there. And it's kind of wild. There's a lot of names that I just read that I have been reading for over 2 years now. So that commitment, I mean, we've been committed to doing this show for over 2 years, and there's people that are right there with us, being committed to supporting the show for over 2 years, which is really impressive. And I give special commendations to those individuals.
Mm-hmm. It's well earned.
It absolutely
it really is nice having people back us up.
It's showmanship at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is showmanship, and that is one of the most. That's something that we pride ourselves in, and we talk about a lot, Chris. Is just being able to be a showman in a lot of ways.
Exactly. And, we've got people stepping up to help us out here. And we hope that we can help other people out by using this space.
Mm-hmm. And usually, and that's like our main source of backing. And we don't have any other real, I would say, I don't know, like any big businesses coming to offer us a bunch. There's no corporations here.
The suits have not found their way to the Grunge Bible podcast quite yet.
But we do have some new shit that's come to light.
New shit has come to light.
My brother has anteed up and offered us a deal that we couldn't resist. So my brother is Quinn Shalloway is a real estate agent based in Pennsylvania, but what he wants to be known as is the grunge headhunter. And so if you're out there listening, and like this is a great way to look at it. He's a really smart guy. He's a mogul, as we like to say, and he has great finance advice, and he can connect you if you're looking to buy or sell a house. He's the guy that can get you connected to the right real estate agent in your area, or he can just offer you good advice and help, figure out something that you may need down the road, help find the information to buy or sell a house. And then you're thinking, me and Chris are like, who's going to buy a house listening to the podcast? Well, we don't know. And
that's the thing.
That's the thing. We don't know.
A couple of weeks ago, when we did the Chat GPT episode, Chat GPT made a few jokes about how grunge enthusiasts and grunge rockers would be homeless without their significant others and whatnot. But we know that's not the case. There's people here at all different seasons of life, all different points. And Quinn's the guy for the job if you're at that point.
Right. So imagine, like, the nice part about this is if you're selling your house and you go through Quinn somehow, Quinn's going to sell your house, which is great for you. He's going to get paid by the person that bought the house, and then he's going to pay us. So in reality, all of us are making money.
Yeah, you sell your house, Quinn gets a good deal, and then we give Drew a pay raise, and we get some new microphones. That's really all you need.
Yeah, it's super legit, and he really is a master in his field. He does a fantastic job in his area, and like I said, he knows the business, and he'll be able to find the right person for you and make it easy. So I've learned a ton just being around him and hearing all that. So he's got the right mind for it. So if you are thinking about that, please reach out to us, or you can reach out to him directly, QuinnShalloway@gmail.com. Tell him Grunge Bible sent you, Grunge Bible podcast. And then,
I've always wanted to say that. Tell him we sent you.
Yes, and I want to actually work at some point. So more information coming each week about that probably and when we sell a house, I think Chris, like, it'll feel like we sold.
Yeah, I think we need to pop champagne on the podcast episode or something.
Oh my gosh. 100%.
Yeah, that's it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. So I would like to thank Quinn for his he's getting some skin in the game here, and the thing is, I mean, he's here because he wants to help people. He wants to help you, and he wants to help us. So it's a win on all fronts there. So we're really excited to welcome Quinn Shalloway into the Grunge Bible family. Something else I've always wanted to say.
Didn't know until right now, but
I felt pretty damn good.
Oh my gosh! Well, and shout out also because the microphones that we're using were donated by Quinn.
These are from Quinn Shalloway.
These are Quinn's old microphones, and although Drew hates them, we love them.
We love them.
They're
exactly.
staying until we sell a house. Then we'll buy some.
Yes.
Then we'll.
So let Quinn help you sell your house if you want better audio quality for the Grunge Bible podcast.
Exactly.
It's really that simple. So That's just the way that it goes sometimes. But Ethan, I've got some other exciting news as it pertains to the podcast and some things that we've done, some cool things that we've done.
So much news. It's a news drop episode.
There's so many current events going on.
I think that's what we need to title this, just like new news from Grunge Bible.
There's a lot of events that happen to be current right now that we can talk about and make a note of. And this particular one that I'm going to lead off with is really exciting to me. It's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. So if you've been listening to us for a long time, you may recall episode 89, we had Julie Lydell on the podcast, who's one of our favorite musicians that we've gotten to know her music, and we've gotten to know her as well over the last few years. And she is the mind behind the June Swoon project. And June Swoon released one of my favorite albums that pretty much got me through one of the more difficult points in my life. And we had her on episode 89 talking about her forthcoming album, A House with Windows Open. And I'm really happy to say that as of today, pre-orders are open for the new album. It's going to be coming out later this year. It's going to be another independent release. And I think that's super cool that Julie is going to do another independent release. I mean, it's just the ownership that you can take over the project and just the ability that you have to make all of those decisions and really make it special, not only for yourself and for the music, but for all of the fans out there. We're really looking forward to that. So pre-orders are open. She will, get your name down for the pre-order, and personally send you a copy of the vinyl when she presses it, which is really special. You think of, having physical copies of music of people that you support and people that you value. It's so important. And this is just so special because it's coming directly from the musician. And it's the best way to support her. So you can go over to her Instagram page, at june.swoon, I believe. And you can find some more information on that. And additionally, a day after this podcast was released, on May 9th, 2023, the second single from this forthcoming album is going to be released, and that single is called Working Dog. If you recall episode 89, Water Baby, the first single from the album, was released. And Ethan, we can say we've heard Working Dog. It's great. And pretty soon you all will be able to hear it as well. So had to lead in with that. As we said earlier, this show, we love to be able to support artists and people that we're passionate about, and we're passionate about what they do. And Julie, through the June Swoon Project, is one of the standard bearers of that. So go ahead, support a great mind, support a great person, support a great musician, and get your name in for the pre-order. It's a limited run. That's the thing about these independent releases. Once it's closed, it's closed. You can't get another copy. So this is the way. So act now. Something else I've always wanted to say.
I love this, Chris. This is so exciting. I feel like
this is so exciting.
This is great. Act now. I love that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So Ethan, what do you say we get into some current events, right?
Yeah. Let's get
I have a little story related to current events that just popped into my mind that I need to share. So way back when I was a freshman in high school, I wanted to play sports. Like I was like your typical jock, and I think in a lot of ways I probably still am. Somebody who listened to the podcast once called us a bunch of dumb meatheads. So there we go. It was consistent back then, but I got hurt my freshman year and I couldn't play football. So I don't even know if you know this, but I joined at my high school. We had a broadcasting club.
So I did not know this.
I joined the broadcasting club, and I hosted for a very brief period of time. I hosted a broadcasted over the internet radio show that was called The Current Event. So that's awesome. Full circle here. Yeah.
Did you just talk about current events?
I mean, we were like 15 or 14. It was so disorganized and shitty. Probably. I don't even know what happened to it, but that was where I cut my teeth podcasting, I guess.
That's awesome. Do you have any ability to get your hands on some of the old content we could pull up and play?
No, and even if I did, I would choose not to. I think that is lost. Good. That's lost to the sands of time. As it should be. But an important caveat as we talk about these current events. So I think we should just get right into it. We've got some news on the Pearl Jam front. over the last couple of weeks. The boys are back. They're heading out on another tour. They've got later on this year, they're going to be hitting some cities in the United States, some that they don't often go to, some that they may not have been to in a while. They're playing some of these cities multiple nights. So it seems like they're hammering the central time zone here in the United States. So from August 31st through September 19th, Pearl Jam will be playing some arena shows, 2 in St. Paul, Minnesota, 2 in Chicago, Illinois, 1 in Indianapolis, Indiana, 2 in Fort Worth, Texas, and 2 in Austin, Texas. So this will be the first proper Pearl Jam shows since 2022, I believe. So another, more great opportunities for people to see the band. And, it's one of those things. I think Pearl Jam fans, I think being a Pearl Jam fan, the live experience of seeing the band is so integral, I think, to people's fandom, that the appetite that fans have to see this band it's impossible for the band to play the requisite number of shows to ensure that everybody's happy. And also, I think we forget sometimes these guys are getting a little older. I mean, they're approaching the big 6-0. Some of them may be on the other side. It's not that simple.
Let's call it as it is, Chris. All right.
Yeah.
And he corrects me if I'm wrong, but I think that Pearl Jam's legacy is going to be as live performers, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with the last, obviously the whole career, but like the last maybe 15 years, and then what they play until they're going to be up there as long as Bob Weir. Maybe they could be playing forever. It's one of those things.
If they want to, they will totally be able to.
Because that's what they kind of got into this. They have shows that people, Easter eggs, and their set lists are always different. They're so each show is super unique, and that's kind of like where they are as a band. People don't look. I don't want to say people don't look forward to their next album, but people much rather look forward to the next tour to go see them and see the songs that they've always wanted to see. And this is kind of what people are gonna like. This is their spot right now. This is their time.
Absolutely, and I love that they're doing it in their own way. They've still got it for sure. And people can hand wring about the length of the shows, but I mean we've been so blessed for years. With Pearl Jam putting on 3-hour shows, and they're not being an opener a lot of times, and it's just the band. So they've got Inhaler coming along with them for some of the dates on the tour to open. I'm not very familiar with the mighty Inhaler. I might have to be, and I would be if I could get to some of these shows. But it's exactly like you said. I think this is such a big part of their legacy. And for example, they're a band that they don't have to put out a record to go and tour and to fill stadiums. No. And not every band can say that. I mean, that's why the cycle of life is what it is. You go into the studio, you cut a record, you release it, you tour the record for maybe 1 or 2 legs, and then you go back into the studio or you do something else. I mean, Pearl Jam, if they never put another record out, people are still going to be, filling the stadiums where they go. And I know, discourse around concerts and ticket vendors and everything has been even more in the news, I think, the last year or so, and it's all just a complete fuck all. And I think at the end of the day, if you're a band that has a following and there's more people out there than there are seats in these stadiums for the tour, it's impossible to do it in a way that is fair and that is equitable and that makes everybody happy. And it's one of those things that I'm at the end of the day, we got shut out last year when we tried to get tickets to see them. I didn't even attempt to this year because the cities aren't close. And I just didn't think, it was worth trying because it was logistically and financially, it was going to be difficult. But also I kind of think of it as it sucks that they don't play 40 dates in the US every year like they used to. And it sucks that the tickets are really expensive at times. But at the same time, I'm happy because it's even though they're only playing 9 shows in 5 cities or whatever, there's going to be people out there that are able to go and see their favorite band for the first time or hear their favorite band play their favorite song. I mean, how many stories have we heard about these people out there that have seen the band so many times and they're waiting for that one song to complete to complete the search. I mean, there's people out there that have heard Pearl Jam play pretty much every single song in their catalog, and that's something that they choose to follow and they choose to do. And I'm glad that space exists for people. And it does stink that as time goes on, as the band gets older and as things get more expensive, it's less accessible for people. But that's just, unfortunately, I feel like that's just the facts of life with how that happens, and the fact that the band is getting older and they're choosing not to play 40 or 50 dates a year. But they still put on a great show. I mean, they played really inspired last year. I know they played a few shows, I think, at Madison Square Garden towards the end, and a lot of people who went said it was special. Something special was in the air, which is hard to do after 30 years of touring and hundreds of shows, to be able to still capture that magic. But that's what these guys are. These guys are, professionals, and they're magicians at the same time. And it's really impressive how they're able to harness that even now, even after having done it for so long.
Yeah, I think they will be able to do it for another decade if they wish, or more. I mean, they are so talented, and I think they'll be able to continue it. And I heard someone say they were talking about it, like they were talking about Eddie Vedder, and it was pretty good psychoanalysis, I guess. Like when he was younger, like he looked up to the Neil Youngs and the Bob Dylan's, and like he wanted to be an elder statesman, like, and been around for a long time. And now he is older and he's been around, and he likes older and telling stories and like singing, and I think he likes the position he is, and I think he's going to want to continue playing for a while. I think he's, maybe not as much as like Bob Weir or something, until he really, literally croaks, but like right. God bless Bob Weir. But like, I think Eddie Vedder loves playing, and he will for as long as he can, and he likes the position, likes being that,
absolutely,
that for the music world in a way.
Yeah, and I think all these guys are. I mean, Matt Cameron to this day, I mean, he pops up all over the place on people's records and playing live. Mike McCready's doing his thing with the Rockfords. Stone Gossard, there's a new Final Brad album coming out that he's undoubtedly been busy with. And that's the thing. I mean, these guys are musicians, and this is their craft. It's a lifelong pursuit, and it's one of those things that I have to imagine in 1991 or 1992, when you first pick up 10, if you even would have dared to have think that 30, 35 years later, these guys are still doing it, and you can still go and see them. So I think we're just really blessed that their career has continued, and people have come and gone from the band, but I think the ethos still remains, and it's cool that people are going to be able to see it. I'm bummed, because now it's at this point where it's like, even though they can play for as long as they want to, I'm sure, I don't know how long they will. And you never know when you're going to be at that point in time where that was your last opportunity, and the band is retired. And I hope they don't do like a farewell. I fucking hate farewell tours. Yeah. I hate that shit. I hope they just play a tour, and then then that's it.
Yep, and we can be left waiting, wondering,
exactly,
are they going to play again?
Yeah, it's funny. I believe, I think very recently, to the time that we're sitting to record this show, Aerosmith just announced that their final tour, called the Peace Out Tour, has it's been announced, and
wow,
one of my friends sent the announcement to me, and they were like, "It's about time." And, I mean,
I love that, dude.
Yeah,
so
I just like the whole farewell tour thing. I'm not a fan of it, but I would hope that the Pearl Jam does not go that route.
It's good marketing,
Yeah, that's the thing.
Good marketing.
It's gotta be lucrative, But it's like I hope that, and same hope I have for Bruce Springsteen. I'm seeing him 3 times this year. I've seen him once. I'm going to see him twice more, because you just don't know. I mean, Bruce is 73, and he's said before that like he doesn't like farewell tours either. So whenever, you don't know, he's touring right now. It could be the last time.
I didn't know you had 2 on deck, two concerts on deck.
Well, here's the thing. So I've got one. He's playing back-to-back nights, I think, or there might be an off night in between. But he's coming to Foxborough, Massachusetts in August. I'm going the first night with a couple of my friends that I went to high school with that still live in this area, and she doesn't listen to the show, so I'm free to say this, but I'm planning to surprise my mom and take her the second night because she's a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and we saw Bruce on Broadway in 2021 together. So that's my plan. She supports the show. She's a top level Patreon supporter, but she doesn't listen at my request. So I'm free to say that here. So that's my plan. So I'll be able to, hopefully it'll all work out. I'll be able to see him back to back nights.
You will. That sounds awesome.
So that'd be super cool.
All right. Next on the list, do you want to go to...
Yeah, we need
to. Do you have a preference? Do you want to do that?
I have a preference. Yeah, we need to talk about the Soundgarden news that came out on April 17th.
It's good. I was going to go with the other one first, but this makes more sense.
Yeah, we'll do we'll hammer this first. So I'm sure everybody out there listening by now has heard the news and is not a stranger to the situation that has been unfolding over the last 4 or 5 years, I think, between Soundgarden and Chris Cornell's estate. But finally, on April 17th, they released a statement which read as follows, and it said, Soundgarden and Vicky Cornell, on behalf of the estate of Chris Cornell, are happy to announce they have reached an amicable out-of-court resolution. The reconciliation marks a new partnership between the two parties, which will allow Soundgarden fans around the world to hear the final songs that the band and Chris were working on. The two parties are united and coming together to propel, honor, and build upon Soundgarden's incredible legacy, as well as Chris's indelible mark on music history as one of the greatest songwriters and vocalists of all time. And I was so excited when I saw that. I know the legal battles have been waging on forever and ever, and, it's not important for us to talk about whose side we believed in on this and who we supported and it's not important, I think, at this point, because there's a resolution. It's not important to get into the specifics of what was going on. There's plenty of stuff to read about that, but between the estate and between the surviving members. But I'm just really happy that at long last, sounds like we're going to get some new music from Soundgarden with Chris Cornell on it, which I didn't know if something like that existed. And then, you heard that it existed and you heard that the band was working on something, but then, when stuff like this falls into the courts, you never know. And it could have been years, but I'm really happy to hear that there was the two sides were able to get together and come to a resolution on this. And I have no idea what the process looks like in terms of timeline and logistics and how finished these songs were. I imagine that the three surviving members, will have some work to do in terms of getting these songs ready for a proper release. But what are your thoughts, Ethan? The fact that we're going to be able to hear new unreleased Soundgarden material from, this is the last album.
Yeah, it's the farewell album. I love it.
It's so strange. Yeah,
I love it. I think that it's important that, maybe not important, it's not the right word, but I think that it's a treat. And I'm just really excited, I guess. I think that, I don't know what to say. Like, it's really kind of like weird to think that we're going to be able to hear some stuff, some unheard material of Chris. And I think that even if it was unfinished, like even if he tracked it one time, I'm sure that it's going to be beautiful and it'll be great. Mm-hmm. And I love it for the rest of the band. I think that to see the work that they put, probably, I don't know, you don't know how much time they had put into the album and stuff. So it's fun. It's nice to know that they'll be able to finish up something and kind of button that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And move on and feel like complete. And that could be really good for them and for everybody. So it makes a lot of sense to me that it's going to be coming out, basically.
Yeah, I'm so happy for the guys.
I am,
for the Soundgarden guys. I mean, because that's the thing. I think in discourse like this, people forget a lot of times that the band is the sum of all of the parts. It's a sum of all of the people and all of their individual contributions that go into these projects. And those guys were bonded so tightly over, their entire careers going back into the 1980s. And, it's one of those things that if they feel that it's right for this music to come out, you know they're going to do a good job and they're going to honor their friend. And my initial reaction and the initial emotions that I felt when I found out that a resolution was reached and that, you know, something like this is imminent, I was so excited. I don't even know what my feelings are going to be when I press play at some point in the future when I hear it. It's going to be.
Do you think it's going to be heavy?
Weird, I don't know what it's going to be. So I have a rumored track list. So we've got some names of tracks that are rumored to be on this this
As
this
in,
album.
like, we just know the title, or there's some old cuts that people have heard?
We just know the titles.
Okay.
So a couple of the titles, I'll just read all of the ones that we have. Road Less Traveled, Orphans, At Orphan's Door, Cancer, Ahead of the Dog, and Stone Age Mind. And wow. I have to
sounds
say,
heavy.
Yeah, it
heavy
sounds
as in like lyrically and like ominous,
Ahead of
like,
the Dog.
Yeah,
Stone
Orphan's
Age
Door, or was it Orphan
man.
and Orphan's Door?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or, excuse me, at Orphean's Door. I left out the I there. So,
but there is one called Orphan.
There is one called Orphans. So, and I have to say, like, this conversation is hitting me at the right time. Like, I've been incessantly watching Soundgarden live videos from after they reunited in the for King Animal around that time. I think it was like 2010, and King Animal came out in 2012, and just like those guys were so fucking good. And somebody commented, I posted a 2012 performance of Spoon Man, I believe, and somebody was like, this might be unpopular, but I think the band technically and the way they played during their second iteration, you know, after the reunion, blows away what they did in the 90s. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, these guys are masters at their craft, and they had, you know, another 15 years to continue to improve. And it's just really exciting to hear that at this point you have these guys are so much more mature and so much wiser and have so many more experiences under their belt. And the fact that we're going to be able to hear what they were doing together at that time after that chapter had begun again, and you know, before it abruptly ended, it's really exciting to me. Yeah, it's gonna.
I would say
awesome.
It's just like LeBron James or Tom Brady. Like in the beginning, or like LeBron, in the beginning of his years, he was so good because he was so athletic and strong and whatever. And at the end of the year, at the end of the career, he's still crushing it because he's smarter. He's saving energy. He's doing
and
things.
He's still
different.
The best guy on the floor.
Yeah, and it's
but
not
he's just added that other element to his game.
Yeah, like in Tom Brady, like I think his last season, like he had the most passing yards pass attempts,
incredibly.
Like, yeah. And it's like because they've learned so much and they put it into use and they don't need to, it's different, but still at a highest level. So
it's going to be really exciting. I can't imagine that we'll hear any of this or plans will be announced until 2024, I would imagine. But then again, who knows? But I imagine not much work has been done on this because it's been tied up in the courts for all of these years with, you know, the ownership being disputed, and obviously the financial aspect of it, I think, was a big roadblock. Right. But it seems like all of those roadblocks have been lifted, and at the end of the day, I think it's important that the two sides are able to, you know, see eye to eye and come to a settlement, because it's I hope that it benefits everybody involved, and it honors the legacy of of Chris, whether Chris was a husband or a father or a bandmate, a friend, a brother, what have you. It's going to be it's going to be a really significant thing that we have to remember him and honor him, and also just get more Soundgarden. I mean, fuck Soundgarden, they're so good. And any opportunity that I have to be able to hear something from them, I'm going to be very excited for. So really excited for that great Soundgarden news that's coming. And on the other hand, we have other news that pertains to Soundgarden.
Yeah, has Soundgarden in there, yeah.
It could be bad news. You might not care about it. You might think it's stupid. And, you know, we'll share our thoughts on it. But Soundgarden once again has not been selected for induction to the mighty Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Some of the inductees this year that they chose, or that fans, I don't even know, fans voted, people select. They didn't choose Soundgarden. Yeah, the pundits have spoken, and they've chosen, among others, they've chosen Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott, George Michael, Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, The Spinners, DJ Cool, Link Ray, and among others. So
Willie Nelson just got in.
Willie Nelson apparently is in.
Wow. And and so Rage got in. They're like one of the
got in.
They're like one of the only kind of like punk or like rap,
whatever they were,
metal.
Exactly.
Like
right.
There's not a lot of metal in the Hall of Fame, and maybe that's why Soundgarden, they keep Soundgarden out. It's too heavy.
And
but
I think one of the criteria. Yeah.
Honestly, what do you take on Hall of Fames in general? Are you in your like high school Hall of Fame for anything?
So
I think you need to be out in 10 years. I don't think we're eligible for something yet.
So here's the thing, and I'm going to issue my disclaimer. So I am not currently in any halls of fame, and to the best of my knowledge, I am not in consideration for induction into any halls of fame. With that being said, I don't give a shit about them. I don't care. Like I don't need, for as it pertains to music, like Pearl Jam getting inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame in 2016 didn't make me appreciate them more as a band, didn't make me view them as being more legitimate than I already viewed them as. It's the same thing as Soundgarden. It's like, yeah, like people were like excited, like, yeah, let's induct Soundgarden. Like, I don't care if they get it or not. Same thing, Baseball Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's the best hitter that's ever lived. I mean, he was a machine.
Dingers.
Like I don't need him to have a plaque in Cooperstown, New York, for me to acknowledge his talents and cherish his contributions to my experiences as a fan and my experiences watching the sport. In the same way, I don't need Soundgarden to be in a building in Cleveland, Ohio. With all due respect to the mighty land, I don't need that for me to appreciate and feel that the band is being honored. The honoring comes from the fact that there's people that are out there still listening and still being impacted by the music. It's not about some fucking building and a room where they're gonna have their name.
If you're driving if you're ever driving through Cleveland, would you stop at the Rock?
I've done it. I've driven through Cleveland. I have not gone to the Rock Hall of Fame. I don't like.
Would you ever do it?
If I had the time, yeah, or like I don't know, but I had the time before.
Yeah, I was say like I'm sure.
I think
like,
I would have had to have been.
Like
with
if you went there for a
somebody.
business, like I mean, it's just like if in New York, you know,
right.
Like we go and visit in New York, and we had the time, or you know, to maybe go to the Baseball Hall of Fame or something, but like. Yeah. You know, we're not
really
gonna
go see the Empire. So I don't know. Like I knowing like for me though, for example, I'm not fired up like to go see. I'm sure they've got great artifacts at the Rock Hall of Fame. like seeing I don't know.
Kurt Cobain's guitar. Is it?
Yeah,
in there?
like I'm not big into that kind of thing. Like, oh wow, there's a guitar that's autographed by whoever. You know.
Yeah. Prince.
Yeah, like the Prince's autograph. Like, okay, that's really cool. Or like, this is the guitar. Like, for me, like those aren't things that kind of wind my clock. So I don't know that I mean, I'm sure I would go if I had the time. And if I had to, yeah.
What if in the Hall of Fame, Bob the Bear Height, his flute was in there, and you could go in there and see
from the famed Canned Heat going up the
and
country live performance.
Alan Wilson's glasses were in there. And you can see
in that case, Ethan. I think I've got enough gas in my car to get to Cleveland right now
by 10 a.m. tomorrow.
I got a full pack of cigarettes and a full tank of gas.
Oh
yeah,
man.
I mean, I don't know. So what I've railed on the Rock Hall too long. So I want to toss it to you and get your thoughts on Halls of Fame and on Soundgarden not getting in, and on I guess some of these other bands that have gotten in.
Yeah, it is so okay. Hall of Fames and museums are interesting, and I think I do like them because it keeps history all in one place. Like, you know, you can't have I mean, you can have exhibits, but like it does make it maybe accessible and kind of maybe fun to, like, you know, walk down memory lane and stuff, and you can see some stuff. But what I don't get is who picks it and how who decides the impact and if it was worth it, and like, I mean, so there's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but like is like a Blues Hall of Fame, like, you know, there's if Rage is the first metal, I mean,
like how much time do you have? We can talk about all these halls of fame that exist.
I mean, they're still playing, so like it's not like, you know, in sports you have to be out of the league for like, you know, at least I think it's at least 5 for the NFL.
I think baseball's 6, and
which
I
isn't
think
that long, and I don't really know. I mean, It's kind of
Right,
weird.
you have to be retired, and I think for the Rock Hall, I think the one caveat is I think your first release has to be at least 25 years old to be inducted. But also, Ethan, I have to say, what you just said earlier and like tying it into museums, it's kind of made me rethink. I need to apologize. I was being a little selfish earlier, just because it doesn't do it for me. There is a big educational aspect, I think, to curated exhibits like this, and who knows?
I mean, imagine if you were, Ned Schneebly, and you're taking the kids and you're going to go through and be like, this is the guitar that Prince rocked the Super Bowl a couple
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm sure like there's got to be kids that have gone to the Rock Hall and been like, holy shit, like I need to buy a guitar now, and it changes their life. So I'm sorry, I was being a short-sighted, selfish little bastard.
I understand where you're coming from, though. I get it.
But also, then again, I was just speaking for myself. So,
and you're allowed to. That's why we have the podcast.
That's why we have a podcast.
You have a microphone. You know what I mean?
That's why I have a goddamn microphone.
No one took it away from you. We're all still here.
Pry it from a cold, dead hands, right?
We're all still here. Exactly.
Yeah, man, we are. So,
but
I don't know.
Do you think Rage deserves it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think so. So not to nerd out a little bit, but like, there's so much discourse about the Baseball Hall of Fame, and one of the big dividers is like big hall versus small hall, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You have your purists who are like, no, it should only be reserved for the best of the best, and then you have your other ones like, oh, like Billy Wagner, like he threw hard, like he was good, like let's get him in the hall. And like I'm a big hall kind of guy. Like Rage, I mean, what is a Hall of Fame? Like it's significant things that changed the area in which these people operated, and I think Rage totally did that. Soundgarden totally did that too. I mean, a lot of these guys. I mean, Willie Nelson, he did that. Link Ray definitely did that.
Kate Bush. Kate Bush just made it because of the song
Running Up That Hill. Yeah, I don't know anything about a lot of these artists, but once again, it could be an educational standpoint where somebody gets inducted who I might not be familiar with. So I guess it has its positives, but I'm not surprised.
Big hall, small hall guy. That's
I'm a big hall guy.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, like the Basketball Hall of Fame, they're letting in anybody nowadays.
Oh, they let them all in. Same thing with the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like, like if you held on to a stick for 10 years, you're in. Like that's it.
Yeah. You signed like 5 contracts lasting 20 years. You're good.
Yeah, you just head on in. So apparently the Rock Hall of Fame is not like that, because Soundgarden, once again, is on the outside looking in, but I don't really give a shit. Their music is just as powerful.
Well, another thing for me, like, if you're eligible and you don't get selected, I guess new voters come in and maybe they have a different view, but like, I don't know how who is it that is it the Baseball Hall? Somebody like, it's like the 4th time that he hasn't made it.
Well, in the Baseball Hall of Fame, you get 10 years on the ballot, and after your 10 years, you're not in until there's like a veterans committee of like people who are already in the Hall of Fame get to decide, but they don't want you in either because they want it to be exclusive. It's all just about stroking the ego, Ethan.
Yeah. There was somebody who was like, yeah, this is his 4th miss. I'm like, okay, if he didn't make it the first time, why would he make? It's not like he's played since then.
Yeah,
he hasn't played since then. So like,
there was
what
a guy.
gives?
There was a guy named Larry Walker. He was an outfielder in the 90s and early 2000s, and he got in on his 10th year. Like his first year, I think you need
to start that conversation with that there was a guy named Larry Walker. And he's in the Hall.
Well, I mean, I love Larry Walker. I mean, he was a machine, but it was one of those things. I think like to survive on the ballot for baseball, I think you need like 5% or else you get knocked off the ballot. And I think his first year he got like 9%. So like he was like just staying alive. And then a lot of the voters after time, they start to re-examine. But the Hall of Fame baseball voters are so fucking neurotic and weird that they're like, you can vote for 10 people, and some of them are like, I'll only vote for 2 people a year, so I'll vote for him in his 6th year, but like there's other people ahead of him, and it's really stupid. Yeah. But I think Rock Hall of Fame was just like, the fan vote is very significant in terms of like who moves on to different rounds. So I guess there were just like factions of people out there that were hammering the Willie Nelson and the Sheryl Crow button and the Kate Bush button that left the Soundgarden button unchecked. But also, like, I would consider myself to be a big fan of Soundgarden, and like opening up my computer or like opening up a tab on my phone to repeatedly vote for a band on a website is not something that I'm going to do.
I want to say, Chris, so basically next year, should we see how much influence we have, and we can try and get these like do 500,000 votes? Would that do it? Like would that get them in?
By that time we'll have like 600,000 followers.
Yeah, we could get them in.
Do you want to try?
I think we talked about this once before. Did we talk about this? Like
I'm sure we did. Yeah.
I mean, it would be kind of fun. I mean,
yeah, we should. We'll try.
I mean, if they get in next, if we were to do something like that and they would get in, I would have to believe that it would have a large to do with whatever.
I would hope so. And like this time, and same thing with last year. It's like like I shared it a couple of times. Like like vote for Soundgarden, but like there's other things going on in my life. Like.
The question is, Chris, you shared it, but did you vote yourself?
I voted at least, I think I voted twice.
Do you feel bad when you vote multiple times for stuff like that?
No, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad because you're allowed to.
Yeah. It's always weird when it's like, my band is trying to open up for this music festival. You can vote as many times as you want. It's like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, that's like the Instagram giveways. Like, like you can unlimited entries. Like, well, how many times is enough?
Yeah, it doesn't help the algorithm. Maybe it does, but
exactly.
Whatever.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe next year if
Hall of Fame rants.
Yeah,
didn't see that. I mean,
those will get you. It's 11:30. It's 11:30 p.m. right now. I shouldn't be this aggravated about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but here we are.
Well, let's bring it down a notch and go to songs of the week. And what do you say?
Because that was good. We covered some good current events.
We did. That was awesome. We nailed it. There's a lot going on. And there's only going to be more moving forward, too. Time marches on.
Yep.
So if you're listening right now, thank you very much. You've made it through all of the current events, and you made it through our rants. So you're a true one. You're probably already following, but if you're not, please follow the page. Please leave a review. Our reviews right now are... Honestly, Chris, they're too good. We got 5 stars all around. Good.
They are too good.
Go in there and knock us down a notch. We don't care. We just, give us, we want, because if it's a 5-star review and only 3 people have rated it versus 100 reviews and you have a 4, like, you can trust it with more reviews. So just review us, be honest, and we'll take it on the chin no matter what you say. But hopefully it's good. And
absolutely.
And of course, share the pod to other people. Get our name out to your buddies, and we'll keep churning and burning and growing together.
Yeah. Speaking of reviews, I would like to read our most recent review on Apple Podcasts. This one came through on April the 10th, and this is a great example of maybe a review that's being too nice.
I love it.
So we've got a 5-star review coming in, and it's titled "Grunge Isn't Dead," and this is public record. It's out there on our page, and the review reads. I quote, "I'm 41 and I was a total 90s grunge kid. I'd borrow my dad's work flannels and tie them around my baggy jeans and go off to school. I had a poster of Kurt Cobain on my wall. Anyway, grunge was more than music. It was an entire movement. I've always been a little overprotective of it, probably because so many of those songs saved my life. Anyway, I'm glad to see the next generation talking about it and keeping it alive. You guys may not have been alive then, but you get it. I originally found you on Instagram, and I felt like the bumblebee at the end of the No Rain video. Thanks for keeping grunge alive and well."
Wow.
That's great.
That's amazing, Chris.
Yeah. I'm really...
That's a great review. That means they're probably listening right now if they left a review.
They're probably listening.
So thank you very much. Thank you for joining along and obviously leaving that review. And if you do leave a really good review, we'll probably read it. We're known
Chances
to do that.
are. Yeah, I love shit like that.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say anyway. I'm rambling again, and then you come back.
I'm always rambling.
There we go,
again.
rambling again.
Get one of those good sarsaparillas. The dude abides.
The dude abides.
So let's songs of the week. Should we do it?
Songs of the week. I'll go first.
People know what they have to do.
People know what they have to do. I got a good one, Chris. So I said last weck that I've been listening to some Cage the Elephant recently.
Yes.
I listened to a lot of it. And they have an album called the Unpeeled album, which was released in 2017. And it's kind of like unplugged. Like it's a live album, but it's not completely stripped down. But it's live, but it's recorded so well, and that it sounds like it's in studio. And these versions are I think it's like 17 songs or something. And there's like 15 originals, all their best stuff. and then a few covers. And they have a song. It's a cover of Instant Crush. It's a Daft Punk cover, and it is so damn good. It is really, really solid. The Daft Punk version is obviously cool and has electronic voices and whatnot, and then they take it and make it like indie rock, and it's just really, really awesome. And I've been listening to it nonstop, watching some live stuff. Yeah, they're a really solid band. Having some trouble right now with the lead singer, but besides the point, the music is still good.
That's awesome. Yeah, you saw Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
I did see them. Yes, I've seen them a few times. But Cage the Elephant, Have
you seen Cage the Elephant?
No, I wish I had. Yeah, no, I have not seen them. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I'm realizing now that they never were even on my radar to go see. Yeah. And I don't really know why.
It's music like I remember like always hearing it.
Like but sometimes, you just like, yeah.
Yeah, and I have watched some of their like stripped down stuff on YouTube, and like they're so good in that setting. Their music is suited so well.
Yeah, it's a band that you don't realize how many songs you know of them. Like you can go through some of the stuff, and there's a lot of songs that you're like, yep, heard that. Like, okay.
A lot of different influences in their music too. Like there's something for everybody in their discography, I would say.
Yeah. So easily, Instant Crush, instant classic. You're gonna love it, and it's a cover. We've been talking about covers really recently, so it fits.
That we have. That's perfect.
All right, Chris, bring us home.
Yeah, it's time for my song of the week, and it's inspired by a series of documentaries that I've been watching lately, and it is the documentary series called Abandoned that was put on by Vice back in 2016 with the notable skateboarder Rick McCrank. He was the host, which was really cool. But I think for a few of the episodes, and absolutely the one that I was just watching earlier about abandoned missile silos, it was the kind of the theme to the abandoned this particular episode, and it's a song called "Hey Man" by a band called Spacemen 3, who were kind of like a psychedelic, like experimental, I guess, rock outfit from Great Britain, I believe, in the 80s and 90s. And this song, it's just like the perfect for like that for the exact type of documentary that was featured in, like abandoned places, like kind of outside, and also it's great for some late nights, of which tonight is one. But even more notable
put an episode
than that,
on after.
I think I started it earlier, and then we had to record this podcast, so I got to finish the episode about the missile silos. But this song, "Hey Man," it's so perfect. It was the opener for the episode. It's from their 1990 album. Ethan, you're gonna love the name of this album.
All right.
It's one of the last, I think it's the 9th or 10th song on the album, released in 1990, called "Taking Drugs to Make Music to Take Drugs To."
I do love that. Yeah, I pulled it up while I saw that's awesome. I saw the album artwork. And I just added it to the playlist, but I didn't look at the album name or just saw the "Hey Man" by Spaceman 3. So, Taking drugs to make music to take drugs to. That's how it works. That's how thing. I always. I don't want to show my cards here, but like that makes so much sense to me.
Well, it's the same thing. There's a car seat headrest song, and it's called "Joe Gets Kicked Out of School for Using Drugs with Friends, but Says This Isn't a Problem." And like everything is in parentheses except drugs with friends.
Of course.
And like the final part of the song is just the lead singer Will Toledo repeating, "Drugs are better with friends, are better with drugs, are better with friends," over and over again. Yes. And as soon as I read the Spacemen 3 album title, I was like, this is the same thing. Yeah. So love Car Seat Headrest as well. So I love Spacemen 3.
That's awesome, dude.
So,
man, I love music. When I was walking in, my roommate was downstairs, and I heard him listening to some Front Bottoms. I was like, damn, what I would do to just,
dude, I see them in like 3 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to it's 3 weeks to the day that we're recording it. So I'm seeing them on May 26th in New Haven, Connecticut. Their 10th anniversary Talon of the Hawk tour. Yeah, I got a ticket to that.
That's so great. Did you get one, or are you going with somebody?
No, I just bought one, so nice. I'm just going to go and see what I can get into.
Wow, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah, that's going to be a special one.
I love that album, obviously.
Yeah, it's gonna be really weird hearing Twin Size like earlier on in the set though. That's gonna be kind of bizarre.
They said are they gonna play it straight through? I guess why wouldn't they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They will. So
freaking cool.
Yeah, man.
I'm jealous that I don't have the opportunity to go see one of those shows in that tour, but whatever.
Yeah.
Seen it.
We'll catch them again, but
yeah, exactly.
Just like everyone out there, we'll catch another episode of this show again.
Yeah,
there will be no farewell tour on the Grunge Bible podcast. When we're done, we're done. But I can say with a great degree of confidence that we'll be back next week with episode 112.
Yep. All right, guys, that does it for this week's episode 111. Thank you very much. The week has just begun if you're listening to it on a Monday, so please have a wonderful week. The flood is here, and you're back into it, so hope this brought some light. And Chris, any last words?
I got nothing else, man.
Just your standard status, rock and roll for the people.
Rock and roll, take it easy, take care, stay heavy.
Heavy.
All of the above. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you all next week.